After 3 years exploring the waterways of North America, we've traded our trawler for a trailer. But we're still just passing through. Back when we were still in the midst of our boating adventures, we discussed what our first RV trip should be. It was decided that our first journey would be to Newfoundland. As it worked out, we'd take a few other shorter trips before heading to Newfoundland, but suffice to say, this trip is something we've been thinking about and planning for quite some time. Sharon has a family connection to that island that goes back a couple generations. My grandparents had also traveled there a couple times, so I had a curiosity as well. I will admit that my initial idea of where Newfoundland actually was way off. I think I visualized Newfoundland just on the east side of Maine. No. Newfoundland is about 1,400 miles away from where we live. This would be a lot more of an expedition than I originally thought. We're planning to take a somewhat circular route, passing through Vermont, New Hampshire, and Maine, then crossing into Canada and traversing New Brunswick and Nova Scotia. From there, we take a 7-hour ferry ride to the southern tip of Newfoundland. After exploring there for a few weeks, we take another ferry from the north end of the island, then travel across Labrador on the Trans-Labrador Highway. That leads us to the province of Quebec and back home from there. A total of about 4,400 miles in about 6 weeks. Our trip began on September 5th, 2023, with a 170-mile drive to Rutland, Vermont, and Gifford Woods State Park, where we'd stay 2 nights. The park was quite nice, but it was one of the CCC parks built during the Depression. Sites are sized for tents, not RVs. In 1932, the two-way roadways were built wide enough for 2 vehicles to pass, as long as they were both Model A Fords. Pop-ups, vans, and small travel trailers should be able to find a site they can squeeze into, but anything over 28 feet will be tough. It's not just that the sites are small. The roadways are narrow, and trees are right along the edge of pavement. On Wednesday the 6th, we walked a nature trail, then took a ride to downtown Rutland and visited a couple of local establishments before returning to our campsite to cook dinner. Thursday the 7th, we pack up and head for Maine, crossing through New Hampshire.
Cross the bridge at Portsmouth, and you're in Maine. No single trip can do justice to the coast of Maine. Its beauty and variety recall vacationists year after year. If you like a picturesque lighthouse, a bit of sea-swept shore, or one of the popular coast resorts such as York or Wells, whatever your inclination, you'll find it here.
At about 3 p.m., we reached Bethel, Maine, and a Harvest Host location, Steam Mill Brewing. Temperatures here were about 90 degrees Fahrenheit, so the air conditioning and cold beer were appreciated. Friday the 8th would be a shorter day, only about 120 miles, as we departed Bethel for an RV park with full hookups. We arrived at the Pumpkin Patch RV Park in Hermon, Maine at about 3 p.m. After getting set up, we made arrangements for our next few days of travel, then relaxed for the evening. Our next stop would be another Harvest Host location, Hidden Spring Winery in Houlton, Maine. The winery would be hosting a wedding that afternoon, so to make things easier for them, we offered to get there early. It was only a 3-hour drive for us, so not a big problem. Hidden Spring Winery would be our last stop in the U.S. before crossing the Canadian border into New Brunswick. The winery sits on top of a hill with 360-degree views. After getting settled, we did a wine tasting, learned about how they made most of their wines from local fruit and berries, and bought a couple bottles to take with us. It was a great stop and a very peaceful evening. I woke to this beautiful sunrise, took a picture, then went back to bed for another hour. We've been keeping an eye on Hurricane Lee to see if that's going to affect us at all. So far, it's too early to tell. About 20 minutes after getting underway, we crossed the Canadian border into New Brunswick.
Good day, welcome to the Great White North Canadian Corner. I'm Bob McKenzie, this is my brother Doug.
How's it going, eh?
The trip to the St. John area was interesting and included this short ferry ride. At about 3 p.m., we arrived at Crystal Beach Resort, where we'll be staying for 2 nights. Tomorrow, we head to St. John for a tour of the Moosehead Brewery, but that'll be in the next video. See you then.